Community takes time, right?
Oh,
It's
aye.
hard work.
Hard work.
Hard work, but the value...
no money at times.
Exactly. But the value, I think, the long-term value that you can create by having that community attached to your events business or your D2C brand or whatever is very, very powerful. I'm a good networker. I built a good network of people working in e-commerce in the north of Ireland, and I kind of rang half a dozen of them. If I ran a conference, would you come? And they were like, yeah, we'd love to. Within 6 months, eComm Live happened for the first time in Belfast. We've been at this 6 years now, but that's the thing that sets us apart, I think, with any other e-commerce conference anywhere in the UK and Ireland, and potentially Europe, because we have that sense of community. I have a WhatsApp group with about 100 Irish brand owners and founders in it.
So I hear.
There are people in there that are turned over tens of millions, and there are people in there that are turned over 250 grand, and we welcome everyone equally.
What are you seeing, I suppose, within your community that's being done exceptionally well that we could learn from?
So the hot topics in Ireland this year have been...
Just tell us, what are you doing? There's something big and it's happened and it's out there. Tell us about your new brand.
I've developed this brand called 353. So 353 is the international dial code for Ireland. So it's a streetwear brand, storytelling about Irish culture and history and all that sort of stuff. Run events, build community, do things around your business that kind of make that a wee bit easier for people to want to talk to you and want to engage with you.
Welcome to the Dig podcast. I'm your host, Caroline O'Neill, and it is my honour to be here each week with the most unbelievable guests all about life and work and business, and you definitely can't separate them. So we talk to guests that can help so much with their advice. But before I get to my amazing guest that's sitting beside me today, I made a long journey to be here. I just want to remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, remember, hit subscribe. So many people listen each week and they haven't hit that button yet, but it means if you do, you're not going to miss amazing people like my next guest, and you'll get notified each week and keep up to date with all that's going on the Dig podcast. And Apple and Spotify as well, hit follow, and it means I can keep bringing great people to you each week. And I have an amazing one today. He's sitting right beside me. And before we meet him, just to introduce, we're going to talk today all about e-commerce. It's definitely my passion. I was immersed in the world of online selling, of bricks and mortar, and eComm definitely excites me. I had my shop for 12 years, so I really wanted to have Traynor here today. Do you know him? I have been following online all the great work that he is doing in the eComm space, and I know there's so many people that are going to learn so much because he's a straight talker. He has the highs and the lows and the how-tos and what he's seen that works, what he's doing himself that works, and that's really important, people putting things into practice, because you can talk all day, but if you haven't walked the walk, does it really work? He talks all about it, and he's seen firsthand from amazing businesses within his community of what they're doing well, and he's not afraid to share it as well. So he's the type of person I love on the Dig podcast. He's here today. Welcome, Kevin.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. So you're not, I'm going to say you flew in from London, but you're definitely not from London. Where you came from London today, but where are you from?
Enniskillen,
right.
Originally, and then lived in Belfast for quite a few years, and now home is Strabane. So my wife's from Strabane, so we moved there a couple of years ago. So
great place. Many great entrepreneurs up there.
Absolutely. They're a wee bit mad up there, though.
Well, Pete Boyle is a past Dig podcast guest, and he has streaks of madness, but an amazing man.
Yeah. The people up there are incredible. They're lovely. They're just really warm and funny and intelligent people, so it's brilliant. So it gets a bad rep, but I've loved living there for the last couple of years.
No, it's a great place and great things happening, and I know you're doing a lot of work within the community with different things that you're doing, and we can talk about that. But talk to me now about how you have on your journey got to be where you are today, why eComm Live, and tell me, because you literally dropped a bomb before we started there about how this has all happened, and I didn't really know that. So tell us.
So eComm Live, I suppose, for anyone who doesn't know it, is Ireland's biggest e-commerce conference at this stage. It happens in Belfast every year, runs over 2 days. It's a brilliant conference, very social, lots of really, really good content. But the reason why I got into running that particular event, first of all, was because I was actually an e-commerce entrepreneur. So from 2015 to 2018, I ran a business called Fit Fodder, which sold healthy food online. So I was working in partnership with the late Tom Topping, the brilliant entrepreneur in Larne, and his son Alan, and I was doing all the kind of front end stuff, building the website, doing all the marketing, all that sort of stuff. And that business kind of imploded rather spectacularly, because we were operating on 30% gross margin, which doesn't work for e-commerce. We'll talk later on about what happens or what works in e-commerce and what doesn't. And we had great fundamentals in the business, but we just couldn't get it going. And, food's hard, right? The margins are really, really slim, and to try to do that online with a D2C business model was actually pretty impossible, you know. So we had an investment deal lined up, which it imploded because one of the investors had stock in the House of Fraser when it went bust the first time. So they pulled out of the deal. It all unraveled very, very quickly. But I was sitting in the kitchen literally one day going, this is all going south and I can't pay the mortgage next month. What am I going to do? There's no plan B. And again, I learned lots of lessons in that particular time around going forward, the way I would structure business and having plan B and all that sort of stuff. But what I did realize was I'm a relatively good salesperson. I'm a good networker. I built a good network of people working in e-commerce in the north of Ireland at that point in Northern Ireland. And I kind of rang half a dozen of them over the next couple of weeks. And I said, if I ran a conference, would you come? And they were like, yeah, we'd love to. I rang a couple of sponsors and said, if I run something, would you put a few quid in? And they were like, yeah, we would. So very, very, within 6 months, eComm Live happened for the first time in Belfast. So, and that was really necessity, right? I needed to do something to try and bring some money in. And I suppose at that time as well, what I was doing was I was doing a bit of consultancy work in that e-commerce space. So I thought if I run an event, it'll generate leads for the consultancy. So I thought it's win-win, right? Make a bit of money doing the event, get leads for the consultancy business, and fast forward 6 years later, eComm Live it's a pretty decent event. You know, it's great. Yeah, so that's why I'm here.
And you tell me that all very fast, but I can imagine, because I've been in lots of different scenarios that you've been in about business, but that's a hard, first mentally for a business for that to happen, then the fear of the mortgage that everybody has over their head, and then the what am I going to do next and all. Were you able to navigate that in your head okay mentally? I mean, was there highs and lows?
It really hard, really hard, because like most entrepreneurs that I know, and me included, right, I'm very heavily invested and very personally involved in the businesses that I run and the things that I do. Like I give 120% to everything if I'm going to do it, you know. So to be honest with you, my wife was saying 6 months beforehand, she was going, she could see the effort I was putting into that business and not getting the return, you know, and she was like, look, you got to hit this in the head. And I was like, no, don't be stupid. We're going with your head down. We're going to do it. And she was like, no, you got to hit this in the head. And she was right, you know, like it was ultimately, but loads of lows. And I think when you're an entrepreneur, I think the lows come with the highs. And I suppose what I've done over the years is I've kind of learned that for me, exercise, right? So go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, blow off a load of steam. That helps me kind of, you know, deal with the lows, you know, when they come, because they do happen when you're an entrepreneur. Things go wrong, you know, you lose staff, you lose sponsors, different things happen, like, and you have to be able to deal with them, you know. But
and you see that bit there about the investor and his situation, or their situation changed, and that had the knock-on effect. Do you ever think about, as entrepreneurs, you're always like you said to your wife, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep doing this. If that hadn't happened, do you ever have the fear? Because sometimes I have, if COVID hadn't happened, would I had just keep going. You know, there is that entrepreneur listening that is in that scenario where they're keeping going. When's the time to pull the pin?
Yeah, so I think when things are moving, right, I think I get a sense, there's a flywheel, right? I think whenever, you know, you start to get that first win, you find that first customer, a customer comes back, you know, I think you get a feel for the success, you know, when it's there. And with that particular business, it definitely wasn't, right? It was like, it was a slog and it was hard and it was kind of, you know, everything was like, I wasn't taking any money out of it. You know, it's worked for free in the business for 2 years. So I don't know, 100 grand a year opportunity cost, 50 grand of my own cash in there.
Wow.
A really expensive lesson, you know, but I think what I would say to entrepreneurs is you know when there's something there, right? And you also, I think, know in your heart of hearts that it's not. And when my wife was telling me, you know, kind of, we used to argue about it, like, you know, leave me alone, like I know what I'm doing and this is going to be great and we'll be all right, you know, and but I knew she was right ultimately because, you know, we weren't getting that positive traction. I think that when you know something's moving and it's going in the right direction, that you get that sense, you get the feeling that you know that it's there, you know. So.
Everybody's nodding, I know, in the background, because I'm sitting going, Jared said to me so many times as well in the shop, it was just so busy, but the turnover was there, but the profit wasn't. And we talk about margins and retail and all now. So I think loads of our partners have said to the busy entrepreneur, this is not good for you or it's not working, but the passion's there, but you need to know the time as well. So that's having good people around you.
It is,
and that's the community you built with eComm Live
it
now.
is. Yeah.
So talk to me about e-commerce for people who are listening and don't know what is e-commerce.
E-commerce is selling stuff online, right? So it's having a website or a channel. You don't even need to have a website anymore. It's selling stuff via TikTok Shop. It's selling stuff via your own website. It's selling stuff via whatever channel digitally online you're using. It's selling stuff via that, you know. So, and it's an incredible space. It's very fast moving. Like TikTok Shop, for example, didn't exist a couple of years ago. Now, you know, influencers are making a living on it. You know, new businesses are popping up and they're making a clean fortune on it. It's not without its challenges, but yeah. So just sending anything online to a customer via one of those kind of channels is what I would call e-commerce.
And eComm Live then, and you've talked about the fact that it's an event, but what does it do for the e-commerce community then?
So it's a forum where we all get together once a year, but it's probably worth, you talked about community and you talked about kind of the other things that we do as well. So what I've done with my events is it's a business, it's an events business, right? So we run conferences and we do a load of things. Like last night in London, we were running a dinner. We want to do events, we want to make money at them, right? We want to make a profit doing those events. But the other thing we want to do, or the thing that I have said to my team and our strategy is we can make money by delivering value to the community. And everyone has been to those big kind of trade shows, right, in the NEC and, you know, the RDS in Dublin, right, where they're a bit flipping soulless, right? You kind of go there and it's like a few pissed off looking staff or hungover, you know, on a stand, kind of like, you're not really enjoying themselves, not really selling the, you know, what they're there to do. So I wanted eComm Live to be the exact opposite of that, right? So I wanted it to be a very community-focused event. And building community is hard and it takes a long time. So we've been at this 6 years now, but that's the thing that sets us apart, I think, with any other e-commerce conference anywhere in the UK and Ireland, and potentially Europe, because we have that sense of community. And what that means is over the course of the year, we have the conference in Belfast, but we also do breakfasts. We do the Irish e-commerce awards that's happening in Dublin next week. We have a whole kind of suite of events that the community can come to. And they learn at them. As I said, it's a very complicated space. We're very good at sort of bringing these entrepreneurs into a room and helping them make sense of the technical stuff and bringing experts in that help them grow their business and whatever else.
Have you been using ChatGPT, but you feel like you're not getting the most out of it? Or maybe you're ready to take things up a level, but you're just not sure what to do? Well, now's the perfect time. Kieran, the founder of Profile Tree, has been on the Dig podcast before, educating us all about ChatGPT. He and his team have been training and supporting businesses across Ireland and the UK for years, and they've been helping teams build confidence with digital tools and new technologies. And they've found that even the most frequent ChatGPT users are only scratching the surface. They're making use of about 10% of what it can actually do. Profile Tree specialises in closing that gap and showing businesses how to get much more value from AI and making these tools work in simple, practical ways. That's what we need. So the great news is, if you bear with me, is Profile Tree have put together a completely free ChatGPT course, and it uncovers hidden features and advanced techniques that most people never figure out. I know I haven't. So whether you're brand new or you use chat every day, you'll pick up tips that they're genuinely going to surprise you. And what's great about it is they keep it updated every week. I think this is what makes it brilliant. Most courses are out of date the moment they launch, but when chat changes, Profile Tree updates the course to match, so you know you're getting up-to-date training. There's no boring 2-hour lectures, just quick 5 to 10 minute videos showing you exactly what to do and practical stuff that you can use straight away, not theory. You'll forget that by tomorrow. We need practical advice. And the free ChatGPT course is only the beginning, because the Profile Tree Academy also offers training on using AI and AI tools for digital strategy, video, social media, and so much more. And it's all focused on showing us how to make AI work in practical ways for our own businesses, and more importantly, like how to implement it, because that's what we don't know how to do. So if you head to profiletree.com, the link is going to be in the show notes, and click on the Academy tab to grab your free course, because you know what? While your competitors are still typing, write me a sales email, you'll be discovering tips and strategies they haven't even imagined yet.
I have a WhatsApp group with about 100 Irish brand owners and founders in it.
So I hear Laura from the Walk-In Wardrobe was telling us, and I said, what is Kevin? How does he? She goes, because he just, and this is what she said,
Yeah,
he just cares that we're getting that. She goes, sometimes I can't believe the things he does, this is what she said, for us as an e-commerce community. And I was like, who is this man, Kevin? I need to talk to him. Unbelievable, that WhatsApp group. Talk to us about that. Like, how does that work? And
So again, the feedback is the breakfast of champions, right? Whenever I worked in London a few years ago, I remember this, like, one of the crazy partners in KPMG at the time shouting, feedback is the breakfast of champions. That was his mantra, right? So feedback is the breakfast of champions, right? Because you can kind of learn from it. And because we've got community now and people like Laura and Linda and Paul Vallely, Colin Christie, all these people know us and like us and trust us and know when they come to our events that they get value out of them. They're very vocal, right? You met them, right? Like Linda in particular.
Oh yeah, well, she can talk. She can talk.
but you know, like, they'll tell us what they want, right? So so last year for the first time we did a 2-day CEO retreat in Cleeby Castle. So we took 20 Irish brand owners and founders away to the countryside and delivered content that was relevant and useful to them to help them grow their business. And we had a great reception on it. And at the end of it, I said, hey guys, if I started a WhatsApp group, would that be useful? And we can all sort of share notes or whatever. And they were like, great. So in a year, it's gone from the people who were at that retreat to over 100 brand owners and founders in there. And it's pretty impressive because they're all in there and they're all asking one another questions about, you know, insurance, web developer, you know, US tariffs was a big thing when it came up or whatever. Like, so, and what I'll do then is, again, it's just delivering value for that community. If I can have a forum, and there's no vendors in there, there's no sponsors in there, it's brands and merchants only, so they're not going to get sold to.
Yes.
I have created an environment whereby everyone knows they can share openly and ask questions. No such thing as a stupid question, because we're all learning from one another. And that in turn means that people get value out of it, and then they like that. And then if we deliver value there, they're likely to come along to the next retreat, or they're, you know, buy a table at the awards and all those sort of things. So that's the flywheel that we have, I suppose, with our events at the moment, you know. But we made that decision, I think, 2022, when we were sort of still agency, morphing into an events business. We kind of I said to my team, look, what are we going to do? We're going to do both. We can't really do both anymore. It's hard, like, so. And the consensus from my team was, look, we want to focus on the events. And at that point, I said, well, our strategy needs to be this, right? So if we can deliver really good quality content and value for those Irish e-commerce brand owners and founders, everything else will fall into place, because the Salesforce.coms, the Shopifys, the DHL, they all want to be in front of those people, right? So if we're delivering value for them and focusing on them, the sponsorship will come, the ticket sales will come, all that stuff will look after itself. So it's putting that community at the center of what we do, and that's working very well for us.
Holistic approach to the whole thing.
Just deliver
and
value.
As you say, that WhatsApp group is probably, what did you say? What was that man shouted in England?
Feedback is the breakfast of champions.
So that's feedback, because if you see they're struggling with a certain area, then you can go and bring that to your conference and sort that out.
We'll ask them. So what are the hot topics? What are the hot topics? So
tell us. Are you allowed to, is it confidential? What are the hot topics in the e-com world, and is there any kind of, what are you seeing, I suppose, within your community that's being done exceptionally well that we could learn from?
So the hot topics in Ireland this year have been TikTok Shop has launched in Ireland. Okay, so and that's a great opportunity, but also challenges for businesses in that space, right? Amazon.ie has launched. So I'll give you an example of what we did. Amazon are mad to get in front of these brand owners and founders because they want them on there selling their products on Amazon.ie. So they approached us and said, do you want to do a site visit? And I said, yeah, that'd be great. So I go straight into the WhatsApp group and go ahead, say, Amazon are doing a site visit for us. Anyone in? And bing, 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 bing. Everyone's like, yeah. So we know feedback loops very, very tight, very, very quick, that's something that we should do for the community because they want that, you know. So we'll ask them questions all the time. We're doing a safari to Gymshark in the new year. So we're going over to Gymshark for a best practice visit. So again, we're bringing 20 of the brand owners and founders over there, just through my network and through kind of, figuring out who are the big players. Noel from Gymshark's going to come and talk. He's the chief brand officer at eComm Live next year. So we just get that very, very tight feedback loop. We can respond to what they're saying. But yeah, so the big things, TikTok in Ireland, TikTok Shop launched, Amazon launching in Ireland. I'm trying to think what else. Staffing and recruitment is always an issue. Like, I think that was one of the questions you said you would maybe talk about. Like, that's the e-commerce entrepreneurs almost roll their eyes these days when you talk about like staffing being an issue, because it's a massive issue all the time for them. margin, profitability, growing profitably, right, is the other thing, right? So how do you take a business? It's, some people would say, relatively simple to get to a couple of 100,000, it's harder to get to 1 million. How do you get to 5 million? How do you get to 10 million? Doing that profitably is a whole set of challenges, because the whole thing can get very messy from a technology perspective very, very quickly, you know. So, and those again are some of the kind of key topics we cover off at some of the events we do, you know. So, but TikTok shop launching has been a big one for the entrepreneurs this year. Amazon.e, the US tariffs. Again, no one really knows what's kind of going on there still, you know.
We had, just to jump in, we had Laura from Muff Liquor here yesterday as a guest, and she is in, you know, very stressful situation at the moment because she's in 41 states in America, and you know, heavily invested in that, and she's just, and she openly said this is do or die here. This is really hard times.
Yeah, it is.
And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like that it would have that much of a dramatic effect on her because she's so there, 41 states. So those US tariffs, I don't proclaim to understand all the logistics that's going on there, but my God, for business and e-commerce, like, massive.
So I say this all the time about entrepreneurs can deal with anything, right? If the economy's tanking, if the economy's growing, you know, the people that are in our community are incredibly intelligent and agile and brilliant business people. They'll deal with anything except uncertainty, right? Uncertainty is the killer. When you don't know what's happening, that's the thing where, you know, it starts to get really, really messy, you know. So so that US situation, I mean, even you know, Kilkenny Group, you know, the guys from Kilkenny Group, I know them quite well, Evelyn and Brian, the head of it online and stuff, you know, they're expanding into the US and they've asked us questions around what's going on and stuff. Everyone from those big companies all the way down to the small ones are trying to figure out, you know, how to navigate this, you know, and no one really has the answers still, which is.
I thought you were going to say eComm had the answers.
No, we don't. Like, I mean, we'll try and find them, right? And we'll pull everyone into a room and go, what are you doing? What are you doing? And sort of try and navigate, have one another navigate away. But, and even we'll talk a wee bit about, you know, the brand that I've launched and you know, that's going to be a massive market for us, right? Because it's expats and second generation Irish people, all that sort of stuff. But you're kind of scratching your head going, do we even bother? Do we just stay here for a while first and kind of focus on the UK and Ireland and Europe, and then hopefully what's going on over there will
get sorted out?
Work itself out, you know.
I know. Well, I think that's probably a big conversation then that you're having within your communities, and that's why people should be thinking about being part of a community like yours. People are afraid to talk sometimes out loud because they feel like they appear stupid and that they don't know, and actually your community are all outwardly saying we actually don't know what is happening here. So what can you let us in on any key people? Like, we can all see what we can see online, but you're immersed in that are doing things like unreal and have maybe shared how they're doing it. Could you give us any insights without, like, any great brands that are within your community and you think, you know what, they know what they're after? Are you struggling to find new talent? Are you facing skill gaps in your business? Well, then, have you considered a more flexible workplace? Timely Careers is a coaching, skills and jobs platform created by the WIB Group, and it connects ambitious women with flexible opportunities while meeting the needs of you, the employer. With over 2,000 active candidates, 70% degree qualified, Timely Careers opens a pool of proven talent. Solicitors, bookkeepers, scientists, copywriters, tech experts, company directors. So by advertising with Timely Careers, you'll access candidates you might not reach everywhere, and you'll fast track women into the workforce and create a positive ripple effect on the economy. So to find out more, visit timelycareers.com. We've linked it in the show notes, and you can also place a free advert for your business by emailing info@timelycareers.com and place that advert before the end of December 2025.
Well, there's a couple of them that you're aware of already, like Laura at Walk-In. I mean, I'm in all of these people, right? And I have to say, it's an absolute pleasure to be in a room with them, have dinner with them, run events for them, because every time I sit and listen to them, like, I'm learning stuff, right? I'm hoovering it up and logging it away. So Laura at Walk-In Wardrobe, phenomenal, right? Laura, you know, I think she's doing paid ads again for a while. Like, she was, you know, one of the big things about running businesses online is they call it the Google tax, right? You have to pay for traffic and eyeballs on your website, and you don't pay Google, eyeballs go down, you don't make the sales. So, but Laura for a period of time was just organic social, right? TikTok and Instagram and all those sort of things, which is incredible. I think maybe she told me recently she switched on some of the paid advertising again, but you know, people who do big ballsy things like that, they're going, you know what, I'm not going to follow the kind of, you know, the blueprint that everyone else says I should do. You know, I'm trying to do their own things. One of the smartest people on the island, from a retail and an e-commerce perspective, is Paul Vallely from Cocoon Rugs. He's incredible.
Oh,
Have you met
unreal.
Paul?
No, but I watch what they're doing
Yeah.
intently.
You need to get
Unreal.
Paul in. Paul knows his numbers. He is just a proper
Is
operator.
his wife or the partner? There's a lady he's with him as well. Is that it?
Claire's a sister, so Paul,
Oh, yes.
yeah, Paul is our brother and sister who started the business or sort of took over the family business, I think. But he's incredible, real operator, like, and he knows his numbers. And every time I sit with him, I'm just listening to every word that comes out of his mouth because he's brilliant, you know. So has a brilliant team, brilliant business.
And fearless in ways too with their campaigns.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's Paul does things, you know, he surprises me, does things I never thought. He's spending quite a lot of money with influencer marketing and stuff at the moment, getting massive returns on. He just knows his numbers inside and out. He's a brilliant operator. Trying to think who else. Amy Connolly from Sculpted by Amy, incredible. Like, yeah, and Amy is just an absolute. She's brilliant, right? She responds to every email we send. You know, we ask her to come to things. If she can't come, she's just, again, very, very invested in what we're doing. She's brilliant. Like, her brand is brilliant. Her approach to business is brilliant. The people she's got working for her are brilliant. Who else is there that's out there? The Gym Plus Coffee guys, again, brilliant success story. I know the founders are kind of stepping out of that now. I think Niall's chair of the company and the few other lads, I think, are maybe taking a back seat now. Again, brilliant Irish success story. Like, they're in City Airport now, like, they're all over the place, like, they're doing really, really well in Next, you know, so that's a great Irish success story. And again, a brilliant team who, when they come to our events, again, just sit and listen to them and learn, like, they're absolutely fantastic, you know, so.
I've actually been on the Dig podcast. Dermot was on.
Oh, was he?
At the way when everybody was saying no to me, he said yes.
Unreal.
And he came on and gave us it all. Oh, it was over Zoom actually, and I'll never forget that. Thinking, God, you're so dead on, first of all, because you're sharing your knowledge, and you said yes, and just told us all about. Well, I was fascinated by it all, obviously. So yes, they've done amazing, and we'll link all these businesses in the show notes for people who maybe aren't aware, and they can go check them out.
And sorry, the thing that Gym Plus Coffee have done is build community around their brand, right? Which is very, very important, I think, as well. We talk later on about the things you should be doing to succeed in e-commerce, or that I see brands doing that are succeeding. Tell us now. Let's take us to that bit then about the things you need to do. Yeah, absolutely. So have a good product. Right, so people are buying a product from you, right? Something's going to arrive in the post, or it's going to land at their doorstep. Margin, gross margin. Have a healthy gross margin of 70+% if you can. What? Some of the big brains in there's businesses now that are fractional CFOs for e-commerce businesses. The guys at eClarity came across last year, and Stuart Worgan's one of the founders there, and he says you need 70% plus gross margin, because if you don't have it, you get returns. You get your marketing costs, your staff costs, all that all eats into that margin, and you're left with maybe 10 net, right? If you're good, you know, a good operator. But so you need to have that big gross margin.
So just talk about that, because there's going to be so many businesses listening that toes are going to be curling there. Yeah. Because that's very hard for a business that doesn't have their own brand to do that. So what's the advice there? Do they need to be thinking quick about how to maybe bring their some element of their own branded things? How can a business survive that does not have that margin? I'm just thinking about my retail days. Like, that would have been unthinkable to have a margin like that.
Well, you know, it's hard. Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's hard. So there are businesses out there that are operating on much lower margins. But you need to be completely on your toes all the time, right? You need to be nimble, responsive. Like, you know, if you haven't got the gross, then you haven't got the net, right? So you need those margins. If you want to invest, like, I'm a marketeer by background, right? So marketing for me is essential. Telling your story online is essential. Brand is really important to me, all those kind of key things. You can't invest in any of those things if you don't have the profit in the business to do it, right? So really, really important. There are businesses out there that I know and again, people who are in our community who are in that sort of they're resellers, right? And they'll tell you it's tough. They're constantly on their toes, really, really difficult. People who are in Amazon will tell you it's difficult, right? Because they're competing with kind of Chinese manufacturers, and they're trying to, you know, like, it's like, e-commerce is not easy, right? But, you know, having that margin, you know, to start off with as a starting point will at least give you a really good springboard with which to kind of do all the things you then need to do to kind of grow your brand and build your business, you know. And what
else do we need to be thinking? So that was margin,
Good product.
Good product.
Large target addressable market, right? So you need to have a big TAM. So if you haven't got a large target addressable market, like, so the business that I'm starting, we've identified there are 70 million people globally who have, say they've got Irish ancestry, right? So that's the target addressable market is 70 million people, you know.
A lot of people.
Globally, a lot of people, you know. So what else do you need? Keep an eye on your OPEX. Keep your OPEX at about sort of 15-ish% if you can. You know, that's kind of like, you know, all the operational costs in the business.
What percent?
In around 15. Some
Okay.
of the kind of the experts are saying at the moment. So and again, it's just controlling your costs, right? Having a good margin, controlling your costs down here, and that's where your profit lies, somewhere in the middle. Lifetime value, making sure people are going to come back and buy from you more than once. What else is there? Build community around your brand.
So talk about that piece, because that's a word that's buzzing around all the time now. And what does that really mean? I know you've talked about how you built eComm, but for and your community, what about a brand?
D2C brand.
Yes. Talk to us about how they do that.
Well, it's like Gym Plus Coffee is a really good example, right?
Yes.
So what they run events, right, or represent in the UK, right? They have run clubs, they have stuff that they do where they are giving back. It's not just like, here, we want to sell you a hoodie, we want to sell you a pair of tracksuit bottoms. It is, right, we're doing stuff. People feel like they belong to a gang, a community. I've seen that even going further now, where people will set up, not necessarily WhatsApp groups, but they'll do like Facebook groups or set a school SKOL. You know, the platform allows you to build communities on that. You'll have a real-time sort of interaction with customers, right? If you've got 1,000 of your customers sitting somewhere and you're developing next year's color palette for your brand or whatever else, you can ask them real time about what they like. Do you like the zip on that? That's phenomenal, right? Because otherwise you're kind of guessing blind, or some designers telling you what's on trend. So it's all that stuff around getting that real-time feedback, you know, and having that kind of feedback loop, you know, around things you're doing in your business, you know. So,
and you know what is hard for business owners is, years ago that wasn't really a thing. People came, they went to their local store, they bought the stuff because it was the only man selling it, or woman.
Yeah.
And you know, I always tell the story about my daddy. My daddy used to say to me, when I'd been doing all these events in my shop and never making a penny because I was building community. He was like, "Do you make any money today?" And I was like, "No, but you know what? When they need a suit for their wee boy, they're going to remember the face painting that I put on." He didn't understand that from an older generation, because they never really had to think that way, because there wasn't so much competition.
That's right.
I feel sorry sometimes for business owners who perhaps open a shop or an online store and think that the people will come without that now, because they're not going. I'm sure they're not.
Well, look, it's we live in an attention economy, right?
Exactly.
So we live, like, you think about, you turn on Facebook now, you turn on, it's like you get blasted and bombarded with information all the time.
Yes.
You know, the other thing is, like, there's a lot of single people out there, like in big cities, they're lonely, like they want things to do, they want activities to do. So it's really, and you know, the people listening or watching might have a very particular type of product they're selling. But I would always say, think about how you can build community around your brand, right? Think about how you can have that real-time feedback loop. Think about, you know, building products that they're actually telling you that they want, right? Which is like what we've done really, really successfully with eComm Live. It's like, if we did this, would you attend? 20 people say we attend, right? We're on here, right? You know, so or 50 people or 100 people say they're going to come along, then you know you're onto something. But translating that into selling products online is something that you should consider doing as well, you know. So
and getting that feedback needs the community you need to build it to get the feedback. So it's a big circle of getting started with online promotion, I suppose, as well, and building that together.
Yeah, and people, and going back to the point I made earlier, building community takes time, right?
Oh,
it's hard work.
Hard work.
Hard work, but the value,
no money at times.
Exactly. But the value, I think, the long-term value that you can create by having that community attached to your events business or your D2C brand, whatever, is very, very powerful.
I will let my father hear that from me soon, because I got some stick over the years for having a candy carton and a paint face for the kids clothes shop that I had. But I knew I was building the people that when they needed me, they would come, and they did. There were those other things that stopped the business succeeding, like COVID and all that. But the community I built are now still with me to this day. They were a family audience. So I believe that to the core. I think the older generation perhaps maybe didn't have to do that. So they thought they would just come. But when you're online, the louder you shout,
Yeah,
the,
absolutely,
you know.
absolutely, yeah.
So, and where do you see any, where are businesses going wrong when it comes to e-commerce? Well, I'm sure you're going to say not building community and not, but is there any big stories that you have about where you're thinking, oh man, this is not good here?
There's a range of things, right? So I've seen people now doing like Anya Kennedy at the Smooth Company, for example.
Oh, yes.
You know Anya?
Oh,
Like,
I don't know her personally, but I watch her.
Incredible, right?
Unreal,
Incredible.
yes.
So a product went viral on TikTok,
Yes.
has built a business around that. Incredible, young, bright, talented businesswoman. She's like a cyclone coming into the room. She's brilliant, right? You know, I think what people do is they don't, one of the big mistakes is they want to build something. Well, there's loads of mistakes that they do, right? They want to develop a streetwear brand, right? We say that, for example, right? They haven't asked anyone what price they would pay. They haven't done research on the product. When they kind of go and want to develop a suite of products, they order in MOQs of like 5,000 from China, right? So massive cost outlay initially. And again, don't develop a very strong brand. I think brand is really, really strong, and storytelling are really, really important. They don't do that. Don't understand their customer, don't know the channels very, very well.
Yeah.
You see them, you know, and don't have the margin, right? So, and I meet people all the time that come to me and say, look, I've got this thing and this is happening, whatever else. And I go, first question I always ask them is, what's your gross margin? And if people say to me, I'll go 30%, I'm like,
It's not good.
right, because I've been that guy, right, that was operating on 30% gross margin, and it was a very expensive lesson for me, and a very, you know, expensive and also kind of emotionally draining kind of process to go through to kind of try and run that business, build it, and then have to close it down. So those kind of key fundamentals are you know, and e-commerce, when you think about it, is very, very simple. It's eyeballs on your website, the rate at which they convert into being customers, right? So, and then the amount of money they spend with you, those kind of three metrics, you know, are the things that will help your business sell products, grow, whatever else. But you need to go back to those kind of fundamentals around having a really good quality product, having the margin, people coming back and buying from you more than once. Oh, sorry, the other really important thing is first order profitability, right? So making sure that when you're acquiring a customer, that their profit, that first sale is profitable, because if you don't, what a lot of people are doing is they're sort of that customer needs to come back 3 or 4 times before they've recouped the money they spent on Google or Facebook acquiring that customer in the first instance, which is very, very dangerous.
So that's data. I haven't heard anybody say it like that before. So that's
first order profitability.
First order profitability.
Yeah. So you're selling a hoodie at 100 quid.
Yes.
Right, and your margin on that is X, right? And the amount it's costing you in Google to acquire that customer is 50 quid, which is more than your margin. You've lost money on that customer, right? So so you need them to come back the next time, or maybe 2 or 3 times, depending on how much money you spend to acquire that customer before you've made any money on that customer. So if you're acquiring customers and it's costing you money and you're not making money on shipping products to them, danger zone, red alert.
And you know what, when I'm listening to you saying all that, there's a big thing there with analysing the data that a lot of businesses are on the hamster wheel and don't take time to do. And then they don't realise what's happening here. Because Linda Stinson was just in the room before you. I don't know if hers will be out before or after you, but regardless, she made a really important point about TikTok Shop. Unreal. Flying. Things flying out the word. Hi, everybody's loving life. And then she sat down with her accountants and they were like, this is, the margins here are really bad. And she started, and then they had to change their whole strategy. But if she
Linda and I have talked about that. Actually, we had a call one day and we were talking about it, and she told me that, and I believe that. For, you know, that's what you're doing there is you have a business that's generating cash but isn't generating profit.
And that's the deal clincher, isn't it? But I suppose the business can be so consumed by their everyday life of business that that data analytics part is as important as anything else.
And there's some brilliant tools out there. Again, you know, like I've got for the brands that I've just launched, I had a tech stack of the tools that I would use to get that business started, to get me from 0 to £1 million of turnover. And it Shopify is the platform that I would use, and then data ships for a couple of things that just people that I've met over the last couple of years who are delivering really, really good technology. And then the other one is Store Hero, right, which is an Irish founded business that what it'll do is you plug your meta ads in, you plug your Google Analytics in, you plug your Shopify store in, and it'll tell you if you're making money per sale.
Oh, amazing.
On the back end. So that's the data you're talking about, right? And that there's a tool out there called Store Hero that does that. And again, all these tools are available. It's just sometimes e-commerce entrepreneurs don't know that they're there, or that there's a tool that will do that for them. But again, if you're using something like Store Hero, like, and it's telling you that you're making X amount of money, per sale, then, and you've got the profit there per sale that you need, then that will allow you to kind of grow and scale your business, but do it also profitably,
Unreal. We'll write that in the show notes as well for
Yeah.
anybody listening, because you don't know till you know, and it's only
That's right,
people like you telling us
Yeah,
this.
So and again, look, there those fundamental bits of tech that I recommend people have whenever they're launching an e-commerce brand, and it's not easy, but it is doable, right? But as you said, you don't know what you don't know, so, but you'll find out if you come to our events.
You will. And the thing is, you meet people in your life that are gatekeepers, and they don't tell you things. And they're not the type of people we all like to be around, but they do exist. But when you meet somebody like you, you're just fires out, store hero and all of that. So yes, definitely the events, and you're celebrating the best in the business as well at the awards.
Yeah, so the Irish e-commerce awards will have probably about 400. And again, it's everyone from the brands that enter are Currys Ireland, IKEA, Aviva, Mars Pharmacy. I'm trying to think who's from the north. Bellamy Ant are in there this year. Load of brilliant brands from all over Ireland. And like I said, it's black tie, incredible night out, the round room in the Mansion House. Brilliant venue, great food, great crack. And a celebration. It gives, and the interesting thing about it is that we launched the awards ourselves a couple of years ago. Very competitive now, and it means a lot to the people in the room that they win, and it's a brilliant event.
And even to be there at all, to be shortlisted amongst the greatest, I think is always an achievement as well when you're an award. It does mean so much to people. And another big thing, God, as if retailers didn't have enough to flip and think about on the e-commerce world, sustainability as well is so important now. A thing that people in years gone by didn't even know what it meant.
Yeah.
What about that space? Like, where do you start? Is it small changes? Is it wee steps? What can people do? What are people doing?
Yeah, so I think what I've seen in the industry is sustainability was a big thing people talked about when we were coming out of, everyone had this massive boom during COVID, right? And everyone's going, doing things sustainably is expensive sometimes, right? It costs money. I think what's happened over the last couple of years is a lot of businesses, when their kind of margins have been squeezed and stuff, have kind of gone, sustainability, right? We'll come back and talk about that another time. Really, really important. And especially for, I think there's a customer base out there, the new kind of young, digitally literate kind of customer, I think is very interested in sustainability and CSR and all that sort of stuff, So I think it is important for brands to be using recycled materials, like with the clothing brand that I've just launched. Like, we plant a tree in Ireland, a native tree in Ireland for every purchase. We have charity partners, we're trying to bake that kind of sustainability and CSR into the kind of the DNA of the business, but absolutely it's important. And there are businesses out there, very successful e-commerce businesses, that have the whole business model is on vegan makeup or, sustainable kind of products, recycled materials, going into the products when they're being manufactured and stuff. So it is very, very important. And it's important for all of us generally, right? Because, consumerism is having a negative effect on potentially on our environment, so it's, I think it's important that you do consider those things whenever you're trading and selling online, think about how you can kind of mitigate the damage that's been done by the manufacturing process or whatever else. And again, it is possible, but it's kind of hard work. So with 353, we're using water-based print. It took us a lot longer to kind of get to the point whereby we had a water-based print finished on the back of the hoodies that we liked. That was kind of, so it's definitely more work, but I think again, from a long-term message to your customer, I think it's definitely worth the effort,
Definitely, and I heard, and you skipped on there to talk about 353 before I even did the big reveal.
Oh, sorry.
But I want to do that in a minute. But just the sustainability bit, because I've heard so many businesses get their tail in a spin about, oh my God, I don't even know where to start with this. I don't know if I can afford to even embrace this in my busiess. Like you said, it's a real thing. Like it costs money to kind of get off the ground. But I heard a great person online talking. When I say a great person, I actually can't remember who it was said it, but I took their message, which was, start with a small thing first. And find your way with, whatever it is, and then build on it. Don't think you have to make these big, huge changes, but if you start, you're on that cycle.
Something small.
Something small and build on it. Right, okay, just tell us, what are you doing? There's something big and it's happened and it's out there. Tell us about your new brand.
Yeah, so I suppose what I've been doing for the last, I've always been interested in brands. Like, I used to DJ, I was drummer in a band, like sort of youth culture, music, fashion. I've always been really, really interested in those kind of areas, ran a DJ training school for a couple of years, ran parties in
You really
London,
are an entrepreneur,
dirty
aren't you?
raves in London back in the day, all that sort of stuff, you know. So that's another
What kind of raves?
dirty raves,
What the hell?
highly illegal, no risk assessments done raves in the East End of London back in the day.
Yes, that's all in the past. That's all. We wouldn't do
That's
that
the
now.
old me. That was the old me. So,
Right, okay.
and actually, so it's like I talk about eComm Live. It's like Glastonbury for business people, right? There's a lot of entertainment and
Yes, of course.
all that sort of stuff baked into it. But yeah. So what I've been doing over the last couple of years is sitting in the room with all these brilliant entrepreneurs, thinking, right, if I want to get back on the D2C brand bandwagon again, what would I develop, right? So I want a product that's got really good margin. I want a large targeted TAM, right?
Yes.
So 70 million people globally. Is there a zeitgeist at the moment you can tap into where people are already thinking about products? You know, so we've got the Irish, the rebirth of the Irish language. We've got Kneecap doing what they're doing globally, all that sort of stuff, you know. Then really good quality product, low MOQs. So just all these tick
You're
boxes.
just taking all your knowledge.
Tick, and I've developed this brand called 353. So 353 is the international dial code for Ireland. So it's a streetwear brand, storytelling about you know, Irish culture and history and all that sort of stuff, you know. So proudly based in Strabane. You know, we're going to hopefully the idea is we're going to create employment in Strabane. So Strabane is economically, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of, you know, young guys, you know, killing themselves, unfortunately, you know, kind of like or, you know, suicide's an issue. Like young men, two young lads specifically since I've been there that were members of the gym, you know, kind of like have taken their own lives. So yeah, so we want to be based proudly in the Northwest, and we want to try and create an ecosystem there around the brand that we're going to build. Great products, manufactured in the EC. Ideally, we would want them to be manufactured in Ireland eventually, but the business model doesn't allow that right now. Sourced from Portugal, organic cotton, recycled card. We plant a tree in Ireland, a native tree in Ireland for every product that's bought. We have charity partners, so our two charity partners for the brand at launch are the Gael Scully Doherty, which is the Irish Language School in Strabane, which was community funded for 40 years before it got any money from the British government. That started to happen now. They've got a new facility, but Moira, the principal there, has been helping me with Irish language translations. I go there on a Thursday night and I'm learning Irish there on a Thursday night. But she's also helping us with Irish translations for print designs for the brand. And then also we have Skull na Seolta run by Linda Irvin in East Belfast. So again, this is about Ireland, but it's about Ireland for everyone. It's about bringing, you know, the Protestant community on that journey with us as we build the brand as much as the Catholic community. But again, Linda and the great work she's doing in East Belfast with Skull na Seolta, they're another one of our charity partners. So yeah, first drop, it's gone really, really well. Other products out there at the minute, so it's exciting, you know. And I think it would have been remiss of me, having learned all this stuff over the last couple of years, not to put it back into action again by going back into the world of brand, you know. So, and it's been incredible, real learning curve. Watching what happens on TikTok, watching things go. We have a couple of little videos that have gone viral on TikTok, and we're kind of trying to figure out why that happened. Bringing a couple of young people in with me who are kind of supporting me with social media content, working with local suppliers to do video content. It's been brilliant. So really excited.
I'm going to see you doing TikTok lives now for 12 hours, trying on all the hoodies.
You won't, because we're a premium brand and we don't see ourselves being on TikTok Live or TikTok Shop.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that. So
again, that's amazing.
TikTok for brands, but TikTok not for selling products.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's great. So that's a strategy that you already know will work.
Yep.
So you've really
thought
so hard about this.
We wouldn't sell on Amazon. We're premium, right? We sell direct to the customer ourselves. If we go pop-up, we want to be in Brown Thomas. We want to be premium every step of the way. You know, that's what we want to do. So TikTok Shop is great for sub £30 products that are kind of fast moving, you know, but not a, you know, we're sort of 100, 120 quid a hoodie, you know, really nice, heavy, organic cotton. And also we need the margin to be able to do the things we said we're going to do, which is plant a tree, give money to our charity partners as well. So that's all baked into the business model, you know.
And it's interesting there because you can get into that cycle of I need to be on there and I need to be doing that, but you need to remember the brand and the values, like you just said.
Absolutely, yeah. And TikTok great for brand. We're on there already, and we're following. Like people are following us. We're sending wee message, you know, all that. So absolutely, TikTok for brand, right? We'll be telling our brand story on TikTok, but we'll not be selling products on TikTok because that's not our position as a brand, you know.
Unbelievable. Like what, and now you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk, because you're putting into practice what you've learned, and what a great thing to watch unfold. And
Yeah, and again, that community, right? So what I'm doing is, that community that I've built, I'm going to Sinead at Vacious, I'm going to Siobhan at Mantra, I'm going to Linda, I'm tagging them in the post, they're liking them and sharing them, like we're kind of helping one another out and stuff, So we're just leveraging that network that I've got, leveraging the knowledge that I've built through delivering the events, and also leveraging that incredible community we've got as well. And
you know what?
Another out.
There's nothing as supportive as the Irish community all throughout the whole island of Ireland.
Yeah.
People want, on the most part, to lift each other up.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah,
So you've got them all behind you there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it all unfold. I thought you'd have been wearing one today. My God, we needed it on the Dig podcast, but we're going to tag in the show notes where people can find 353 at your website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's 353.ie.
353.ie.
And even like, so this has been 2 years. Registering trademarks. Getting domains registered, all that stuff. Finding suppliers. Finding a supplier we could work with. Like we've been the first couple of hoodies were like over 12 months in production, like working with a supplier to come up with something that we thought was the level of quality that we needed and had the sustainability baked into that we needed, and the low MOQs, all that sort of stuff, So it's been a great journey so far. And look, let's see. I'll come back and tell you maybe in 12 months how we're getting on.
You better. Don't forget about us here on the Dig podcast. What about the eComm? How can people who are listening become involved in eComm community? How can they join? How can they be part of this?
Well, literally, just reach out, right? So I'm on LinkedIn, all right, all day, every day.
You are, yeah. There's always the wee green things there. I'm like, wonder is he on?
I'm always there, So you need to have an e-commerce business, right?
Yes.
If you're pre-starting, you haven't started yet, I'll be happy to have a chat with you. But you can't join the community until you're actually trading and live, right? Because again, we want to maintain that level of quality in the group, and you have to be trading and operating and selling stuff already, But after that, if you're in and you're doing 30 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand, give us a shout. There are people in there that are turning over tens of millions, and there are people in there that are turning over 250 grand, and we welcome everyone equally, and we all kind of learn from one another and share the info. So find me on LinkedIn, send me a DM. We'll have a chat with you about where you're at. And as I said, if you're not trading yet and you want to get started, I'd be happy to have a chat with you anyway and kind of make sure you've got those fundamentals right in the business before you get started. And and look, the interesting thing about what we're doing is we run these events. We've been doing it since 2019 now. Brilliant community. Every time we run an event, every time we run a conference in Belfast, every time we run our awards, new brands pop up every year. There's new ones popping up and they're doing really, really well. And you find them entrepreneurs who know their channel really well and have a really good product and blah 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 blah, and it's incredible because they're still popping up every year and there's more of them coming along, so we're delighted to be able to support them.
Unreal. Amazing. And even for you to sit there and say that, reach out, send me a message, I'll give you advice I can, like that means so much to people who are just on maybe the depths of despair over one thing that you could help them. Unbelievable.
Yeah, someone out there is the answer. Well, we keep saying, right, so it's like I've been there as a businessman, right? Whenever your business is going tits up, right, and you're kind of sitting in the kitchen, you're not the first person to go through that, even though it feels very, very lonely, right? You're not the first person to have run a business that's failed and kind of gone under, whatever else, Same in e-commerce, right? You're not the first person to have the technical issue that you're having. Someone else will have done it, worked it out, and chances are in Ireland, there's one of those people in our WhatsApp group, right?
Absolutely.
If you ask the question, we'll come up with an answer for you and help you out with it. And just ask the question, like people, and again, squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? Ask the flipping question and someone will have an answer for it. Mm-hmm. But find your community, whether and it's not just about e-commerce. I think if you're a B2B business, if you're, like a traditional retailer and haven't gone e-com, find that community, right? And become a member of that community whereby there's other people you can lean on and ask them questions and get answers to the questions you have, and then help them with stuff you can help them with. That will help your business journey, I think, a lot easier,
And if you can't find it, start it yourself, like Kevin.
Start it yourself, absolutely. Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Start a community, or add a community to your offering at the moment. Like build a WhatsApp group around, like we find a couple of things that are hilarious, right? So we find when we were an agency, right, we were trying to get leads and trying to, build business for ourselves as well, right? So you kind of go trying to talk to people for 6 months, right? And nothing, completely stonewalling you, ghosting you, like not answering emails, all that sort of stuff. You send them an email, say, hey, do you want to come and talk at our conference? Yeah, no problem, I'm there.
All in.
So, run events, build community, do things around your business that kind of make that a wee bit easier for people to want to talk to you and want to engage with you, whatever, you know. So
because it's not all about you. I think at the end of the day, you need to be kind of
Yeah.
showing that you're somebody that's going to help other people as well.
Yeah. And
That's definitely what you are. Thank you for coming here.
No, you're very welcome. It's been brilliant.
No, thank you. I like, so, as you say, you get them people that don't answer and don't reach out and don't say yes and all. So I appreciate it because I've never met you face to face before.
No, yes, amazing.
for
So
you
thank
to
you. And it's
come.
well done you as well on everything, because
Up here, I've had the highs and lows too.
No,
But
I know you have, right?
Yeah.
But I like you. I know that what it takes to pick yourself up again and do it right. And I also know the work that goes into podcasting, not just launching a podcast, because everyone's going to done that, right?
Yeah.
But maintaining it and growing it, and
Yes.
keeping doing it. So,
Well, thanks.
So brilliant.
Thank you for the praise. I'll take it today
No,
after
take it,
15
take it.
guests
No, take it,
in
take it,
3 days.
take
But
it.
you are some man. What I've always had a passion for e-commerce because of my background. But to hear somebody like you talk and share the knowledge, it makes me feel like, you know, imagine how many people you're going to help. So I think it's amazing. I'm honoured to have met you today and for you to be here. And I can't wait to see how 3x3 unfolds and get one for Jared and get him out of those work trousers that he's in all the time. So thank you again and good luck with everything.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thanks for having me.
What a episode. As I said, e-commerce, retail, anything that's going to help people on that business journey, especially in that world, I'm all want to hear all about it. I just think what Kevin's doing is phenomenal. And if you are in that, just listen to what he said. Everybody goes through the challenges. Everybody's been there. And if you can find a community like his that actually helps you, my God, why wouldn't you be part of it? So we're going to link everything in the show notes. Thank you for listening again. And remember, hit subscribe, because imagine if you missed Kevin. Imagine if you didn't hear that. YouTube will notify you of all our brilliant episodes, and also on Apple and Spotify as well. Thank you for being my guest and my listener on the Dig podcast. And I'll see you next week.